भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. I welcome all the participants for today's session on the 5 jewels of Bhagavad Gita. In the previous session, we discussed one jewel. From the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, we discussed the second shloka, where we elaborated on is it possible to know Krishna completely? And the conclusion was that we cannot completely know Krishna. Even great exalted devatas and even great sages also cannot completely understand Krishna. But still, we can understand Krishna to some degree by Krishna's mercy, and by such understanding that we attain about Krishna by his grace, by his devotees' grace, we should try to become completely Krishna conscious, right? Complete knowledge about Krishna may be impossible, but becoming completely Krishna conscious is possible. Okay, and we elaborated on that. Today we are going to discuss another important theme from Bhagavad Gita, and this is, can we always think of Krishna? In the Bhagavad Gita, in the 7th, 8th chapter, Lord Krishna recommends that we always think about him. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu. But is it possible to always think? 24 hours Krishna consciousness. Is it possible for an average human being to be Krishna conscious 24 hours? We'll explore this. Okay. So let's begin. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mamanusmara yudhyacha mayyarpita mano buddher mame vaishyasya samshayah. No need of reciting it line by line. Full shloka you can recite. Yes, let's begin. तस्मात् सर्वेषु कालेषु
कृष्ण प्रभुजी तस्मात् सर्वेषु कालेषु
मामनुस्मर युध्य च मय्यर्पितमनो बुद्धेर् मामे वैश्यस्य संशयः।
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. तस्मात् सर्वेषु कालेषु
तस्मात् सर्वेषु कालेषु
मामनुस्मर युध्य च मय्यर्पितमनो बुद्धेर् मामे वैश्यस्य संशयः। Good. Next. तस्मात् सर्वेषु कालेषु मामनुस्मर युध्य च मय्यर्पितमनो बुद्धेर् मामे वैश्यस्य संशयः। Good. Next. तस्मात् सर्वेषु कालेषु मामनुस्मर युध्य च मय्यर्पितमनो बुद्धेर् मामे वैश्यस्य संशयः।
तस्मात् सर्वेषु कालेषु मामनुस्मर युध्य च मय्यर्पितमनो बुद्धिर्यो मामे वैश्यस्य संशयः.
Now let's discuss the meaning of this shloka. Krishna is saying, Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu. Tasmat means therefore. Why is this therefore right in the beginning of the shloka? Basically, this shloka is a continuation of previous shloka. That shloka is a continuation of the previous shloka. So basically, Krishna is just presenting a series of shlokas where he concludes the whole discussion by emphasizing on the importance of always remembering him. Let me tell you some background. Okay, before Krishna spoke this shloka, Krishna spoke a couple of other shlokas. And this series of shlokas are a part of a major section of the 8th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna is speaking about remembering him at the time of death. Okay. In the 5th shloka of this chapter, 8th chapter, Krishna spoke. Antakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram. He said that whoever remembers me at the time of death will definitely come to me. Okay. So that is one statement he made. But in the next shloka he said, Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajatyante kalevaram. In the next shloka he said, if you remember something else other than me, then you will attain that. Okay. So Krishna is saying that you remember me, you will attain me. You remember something else, you will attain that. So basically what you get after death depends on what you remember and what you meditate upon at the time of death. Okay. So that's the main point that Krishna made in the previous two shlokas. Now in this shloka, Krishna is telling us the method of attaining him by remembering him at the time of death. So when will we be able to remember Krishna at the time of death? When we practice remember Krishna throughout our lives, then we will be able to remember Krishna at the time of death. Clear? The context is clear. The flow is clear. Now let's get into the meaning. When Krishna began the shloka saying Tasmat, therefore, so therefore is continuation of the previous two statements he made. One, you remember me and you will attain me. Second, if you remember something else, you will attain something else. Therefore, if you want to attain me, you have to do this. What is that? Let's see. Sarveshu kaleshu. Sarva means all. Kala means time. Sarveshu kaleshu means at all times. Therefore, at all times, mam anusmara. Right? Mam means me. Anusmara means remember. Krishna is saying, you remember me always. Now, the word anu is very interesting here. Smara means to remember. Right? Smarana means to remembrance. Anusmara means, anu means following, anusar. Right? You are following the footsteps of someone. When you say anusmara, you are trying to remember the Lord by following the footsteps of great devotees of Krishna. Right? So how great devotee Prahlad Maharaj always remembered Lord Hari. How the gopis of Vrindavan are always remembering Lord Krishna. Okay. How Rukmini Devi sitting in her Vidarbha city, she was always remembering Krishna. How Mother Sita, who was sitting in Ravana's Ashoka Vatika, she was always remembering Lord Ramachandra. Right? So like that we have examples of several devotees who always remembered Krishna wherever they are, whatever situation they may be in. They always remembered Krishna. So following in the footsteps of those great exalted devotees, we should also try to practice remembering Krishna at all times. Right? Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara. Okay, till here Krishna is very clear and the message is very simple. But Krishna is adding something more here in the second line. Yudhyacha. Yuddha means war. Krishna is speaking this shloka to whom? He is speaking to Arjuna. And what is Arjuna's duty? Immediate duty? Krishna was teaching Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Not that Krishna has arranged a special auditorium where so many people are coming and sitting with a nice cushion and sound system and some lighting and some speakers. Nothing like that. It was on the battlefield. And Arjuna was equipped with all weapons. And this very grave philosophical conversation is happening between Krishna and Arjuna right in the middle of battlefield. Right? So Krishna is speaking to Arjuna and Arjuna was about to fight. You see, this is a conversation. They are sitting on a chariot. Yudhyacha, you perform your duty of Yuddha. Now here is the contradiction. This is what is a bit difficult to reconcile for many devotees, many people. Krishna is saying Mamanusmara, remember me. And again he is saying, you perform your war also. So if Arjuna is supposed to participate in the fight, how can he remember Krishna at all times? Sarveshu Kaleshu, right? So now say he has to throw an arrow on Karna or on Bhishma or on Drona or Jayadratha, somebody. So while throwing arrow, he remembers Krishna, 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 and he goes into ecstasy. And the arrow will go somewhere else. Arrow may go on Yudhishthira or Bhima, right? Arrow may go on the horses or elephants, innocent animals. So point is that Krishna is making a statement which apparently seems impractical. If you have to always remember Krishna, how can we do justice to our Yuddha? See, Yuddha means war. None of us here in this Zoom call or YouTube live, none of us had any experience of participating in Yuddha. I don't know, some of you may have, but I never had. Okay. So being in a war field with hundreds and thousands of warriors, arrow can come from any side, lance can come from any side, right? A warrior can attack us from any side. So in such a intense atmosphere, an atmosphere which is surcharged with attack at any time, okay, how is it possible to remember Krishna? And Krishna is saying that you just remember me, but he's not stopping there. You should perform your war also. So performing war is actually done with the hands and legs. That is basically engaging one's senses in Krishna's service. But Krishna is not stopping there. Okay. He says, Mayi arpita mano buddher. Mayi arpita means you offer to me. What you have to offer? Mana. Mana means mind. Buddhi means intelligence. Yuddha means war. To perform war for Krishna, you have to engage your senses, your body in Krishna's service. So Krishna is not leaving any faculty. Okay. Here he said, you engage your body in my service. Here he said, you engage your mind in my service. Here he said, you engage your intelligence also in my service. And you identify yourself as my servant. Therefore, you engage your ego also in my service. Basically, he is not leaving any part of your gross body or subtle body. You have to become thoroughly Krishna conscious. Right? So, Mayyarpita mano buddher. Mame vaishyasi asamshayaha. If you do so, Mam eva aishyasi. You will definitely reach me. Asamshayaha. There is no doubt. Krishna is giving this assurance. So he began the whole discussion in the 5th shloka where he said, if you remember me at the time of death, you will come to me. Okay. But now he's saying that for you to remember me at the time of death, you need to practice remembrance at all times. Sarveshu kaleshu. Throughout your lifetime, you should remember me. Right? But just because you are remembering me throughout your lifetime, that does not mean you ignore your duties. Your duty is to fight. Arjuna had his duty of fight. Now, some of you may be students, right? So you have your duty of studying. Some of you may be teachers. You have your duty of teaching. Some of you may be architects. You have to design buildings. Some of you may be doctors. You have to treat patients. Some of you may be scientists. You have to, invent so many things and discover so many things. Some of you have maybe mothers. Some of you may be fathers. Some of you may be professors. So as you are living in this world, you have multiple duties according to multiple roles that you are playing, right? So we have some commitments or responsibilities towards the society, towards the family, towards the institution that we belong to, towards the company where we are working, towards the ashram that we are currently in. So you have multiple responsibilities. Krishna is saying, don't ignore your responsibilities, right? Arjuna was a warrior and his responsibility was to fight, right? Krishna is saying, don't ignore that. Yudhyacha, perform your fight. But the main basic question is, if I perform my duty of fighting, how can I remember you? Always. You did not say, you remember me once in a while. You remember for 2 minutes in a day, and remaining 23 hours, 58 minutes, you can do Yuddha. He did not say that. He said, Sarveshu Kaleshu, always remember me. So that needs little explanation. Okay, so let's see. So Krishna is not giving an impractical instruction. Okay. Now, for example, a devotee is cooking for Krishna. Okay. So while cooking for Krishna, a devotee has to be very attentive. Okay, extremely attentive. Otherwise, he may put some rice for boiling on the stove and he will just talk to someone on the phone then the rice may get burnt, right? Or he may put some milk on the stove, and he may be engaged in a conversation with some friend, some guest who has come. Then the milk will be just spill over, and he may lose the milk, right? A cook has to be attentive. So that cooking service, although you are doing it for Krishna, you need to be attentive while cooking. Otherwise, you may mess up the recipe that you are making, right? So while giving your attention to that act of cooking, you may not exactly remember Krishna, right? So you keep something for boiling on the stove, and then you just remember Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Or you just remember some pastimes of Krishna. You do some Leela Dhyana, Nama Dhyana, Rupa Dhyana, Guna Dhyana. You understand what is this? Guna Dhyana means to think of Krishna's qualities. Rupa Dhyana means to think of Krishna's beautiful form. Nama Dhyana means to think of Krishna's beautiful name. Leela Dhyana means to meditate on Krishna's pastimes. So you're thinking of Krishna. Sarveshu Kaleshu, Krishna said. You remember 8.7 shloka, and you always want to remember Krishna. But while remembering Krishna, you messed up your meals, right? So if you offer that burnt sabji to Krishna, will Krishna be happy? Is it a good service? Definitely not. Okay. So you need to be attentive while cooking for Krishna, and then offer it to Krishna with love and affection. Now, if you have to give your attention to the cooking service, you may not be able to do Rupa Dhyana, Guna Dhyana, Leela Dhyana, Nama Dhyana. You cannot think of Krishna, Sarveshu Kaleshu. But still, you are doing a Krishna conscious activity. Krishna consciousness, or to always be Krishna conscious, does not mean we just sit and think of Krishna in a solitary place and then do nothing else. To always be Krishna conscious means to do activities that are meant to please Krishna and to give the necessary attention that the activity requires. Right? When you are very carefully, attentively cooking for Krishna, although you are not remembering Krishna while cooking, still you are in Krishna consciousness, because ultimately your cooking is meant for Krishna. Similarly, when Arjuna is participating in this Kurukshetra war, he is killing people, right? He is throwing arrows at multiple people, and he's very attentive about it, right? When Arjuna was very attentively fighting in the war, that attentive fighting is Krishna consciousness. Fighting, killing is Krishna consciousness there for Arjuna. And as students, your studies is your Krishna consciousness. As job holders, we are performing job is your Krishna consciousness. And doing the needful there, being an expert in doing whatever you are doing. So, the point is that when you are inclined to offer an activity to Krishna, whether you are remembering Krishna while doing that activity or not, you are Krishna conscious, right? It's not Sarveshu Kaleshu means at all, it's not about at all moments, at every second. It is basically that you think or act or speak or do whatever you are doing for Krishna. And that makes you Krishna conscious. Means what is Krishna consciousness here? You are conscious that, oh, if I do this activity, Krishna will be pleased. Means whatever activity that you are choosing to do, whether it is cooking or speaking or singing or whatever activity you are choosing to do in your life is meant to please Krishna. And then after you have made the decision, I will do whatever I do only to please Krishna. Once you have made that decision and you are doing all activities on that plane with that understanding, whether you remember Krishna exactly while doing that activity or not is a detail. It depends on how much attention that activity is demanding from you. If you don't give the necessary attention for your cooking service, which you are doing for Krishna, that's not Krishna consciousness, right? So sometimes, okay, let me give a couple of examples. Once there was a great devotee. His name is Daruka. He was the driver of Krishna, chariot driver of Krishna. Krishna was the driver of Arjuna, but Krishna had a driver in Dwaraka. Okay, so Krishna is not just the driver of Arjuna's chariot. Krishna is the driver of Arjuna's life. Similarly, Krishna is the driver of all our lives. That he is driving the chariot of our lives, actually speaking. Okay, so he is guiding us. He is taking us to the right destination, provided we agree to sit in his car. But if we arrange another vehicle, not sit in Krishna's vehicle, we'll go somewhere else, right? That's what Krishna is saying. You remember me, then I will take you to my lotus feet. I will take to my abode. I will take you to my abode. If you remember something else, if you sit in some other vehicle, you will end up in a different destination, right? So coming back to our main discussion. So, like in our life, we are meant to do so many things. We are supposed to do so many things. All we need to do is make a decision that I am doing this activity for Krishna. Or even before choosing that activity, understand whether this activity will facilitate my service to Krishna or it's like deviating me from Krishna consciousness. So you can just see that. So as a part of your tenure, you're living in this life, in this material world, within a material body, you may have to do 100 things, right? You may have to eat, you may have to sleep, you may have to work. All that, if we are choosing to do just to please Krishna, that is Krishna consciousness, right? So Krishna consciousness means being conscious that Krishna must be pleased with my activities, right? So you're consciously choosing an activity to perform with Krishna in the center. Yes, if I do this activity, I will please Krishna. Or I should be doing this activity to please Krishna. I should offer the results of this activity to Krishna, right? So when that Krishna consciousness is not there, although you are chanting the holy names of Krishna, you're just taking your bead bag and chanting the holy names of Krishna and thinking of something else. So apparently you're doing Namadhyana. It seems a Krishna conscious activity, but the consciousness is not on Krishna. But somebody like Arjuna, he's fighting on the war, he's killing. He's not chanting, he's killing. But that is Krishna conscious activity because there is consciousness involved there. It's not just the action, it is the consciousness, right? So this action, right? You're just touching the beads and then, chanting Hare Krishna, your tongue is chanting, your hand is counting, your ear is hearing, mind is somewhere else. Then it is not Krishna consciousness. It's a Krishna conscious activity, supposed to be, but there is no Krishna consciousness there. But Arjuna is picking up arrows and then throwing on people. It seems fighting, he is killing, but he's doing it for Krishna. Therefore, it is Krishna conscious activity. There's a big difference between chanting and fighting and killing, isn't it? But this need not be a Krishna conscious activity when we are not conscious of Krishna while doing this activity. But that can be a Krishna conscious activity when we are conscious of Krishna while killing also. So basically, Krishna sees how absorbed are we, or how inclined are we to do whatever we are doing to please Krishna, not to please one's own senses, right? So that's like one perspective. Now, we discussed that giving the necessary attention that the activity demands for the successful execution of that activity, which is ultimately meant to please Krishna, is Krishna consciousness. We have discussed that. Okay. Now let's go deep into this concept. So Krishna said, Mayarpita mano buddhir. Here he's saying that yudhyacha means you engage all your bodily senses in my service. For Arjuna, yudha is service. For you, something else is the service. Okay, basically engagement of body is mentioned here. Then mana, you engage your mind in my service. Buddhi, you engage your intelligence in Krishna's service. For example, you are planning for Janmashtami festival, right? You may have to plan for how the devotees will come, means how the guests and visitors come to temple, what kind of queue they need to go, how to arrange prasadam, how to plan the pandal or some auditorium, etc. So temple arrangement, so many things are there. So devotees are so absorbed in that activity. That is Krishna consciousness, because they're using their intelligence to make nice plans so that the visitors to the temple get very good experience of seeing Krishna. Now, somebody who is doing this activity may not be sitting in front of the deity. He may be somewhere in the ground of the temple, planning for entrance of people, right? Giving them passes or doing something. That's a Krishna conscious activity. So Krishna is saying that you engage your intelligence also in my seva. You engage your mind also in my seva. You think of me and you try to understand my tattva by reading scriptures. by reading Bhagavad Gita, by reading Srimad Bhagavatam. So you engage your buddhi in me, and you engage your body in me. So like that, in a day, we have, say, we chant 16 rounds. 16 rounds of Hare Krishna mantra. So it may take a couple of hours. For that couple of hours, we are trying to engage our mind in Krishna's service by chanting his names. Okay. Now I just did DT dressing and came here. So for last couple of hours, I've engaged my hands and legs in DT service, right? So we need to bring jewelry for the deities, we need to decorate the deities, we need to get flowers, and we need to do some flower decoration, we need to paint, we need to do something, right? We need to clean, broom, mop, offer bhoga to the Lord. So couple of hours I was not chanting. I may not be even actively thinking of Krishna also, but that activity is meant for Krishna's service. So that is engaging your body in Krishna's service. And this is engaging your mind in Krishna's service. Now, all of us are sitting here discussing Bhagavad Gita shloka. We are engaging our intelligence in understanding Krishna's mind, Krishna's heart, Krishna's shlokas, Krishna's statements. This is engagement for intelligence. So now, after I got up today, so I got an opportunity because of Prabhupada's grace to engage my body in Krishna's seva, to engage my mind in Krishna's seva, to engage my intelligence in Krishna's seva, and the rest of the day also we have a lot of opportunities like that, right? To engage Mayyarpita Mano Buddhir, to engage mana or buddhi or body in Krishna's seva. That is Krishna consciousness. To always think of Krishna is not just to always engage your mind only in Krishna's service. You engage your body also in Krishna's service, that is Krishna consciousness. Engage your buddhi, intelligence also in Krishna's service, that is also Krishna consciousness. So Krishna is giving a big spectrum. There are multiple ways in which you can be Krishna conscious. So it's not just thinking of Krishna. Thinking of Krishna means you are using your mind in Krishna's seva. But you have to engage your body also, engage your buddhi also. Okay. Now, if we manage to do so throughout our life, then you will definitely come to me. That's what Krishna said at the end, right? Mami Vaishasi, you will reach me, asamsheha, without any doubt. So let's see a couple of examples of people who actually reached Krishna by living a Krishna conscious life. So, for example, you know the story of Chitraketu Maharaj? You know the story of Vritrasura? Chitraketu was a great king, and once he commented on Lord Shiva, and Shiva's wife, Mother Parvati, she became upset with Chitraketu Maharaj and cursed him to become a demon. Then King Chitraketu became demon Vritrasura. Okay. So this demon was fighting with Indra, right? Indra was the king of the Devatas. So there was a big fight. So in that fight, Indra was fighting to defeat the demon to attain the heavenly kingdom. But Vritrasura was fighting with Indra to attain Vaikuntha. So Vritrasura was more Krishna conscious. So Vritrasura was fighting with so much of vigor. Those who know this story can appreciate more, but I'm unable to give so many details at this moment, just trying to make a point. So Vritrasura was fighting with this Indra. Indra had a special weapon called Vajrayudha, thunderbolt weapon, which was specifically empowered by Dadhichi's austerities. Okay, let me tell the full story. It may take a couple of minutes. So when Vritrasura attacked the Devatas, all the Devatas went to Lord Vishnu and said, see, this demon has swallowed our weapons. He's defeating us. Can you please tell us some way to defeat this demon? Then the Lord said, okay, all of you should go to my devotee Dadhichi. He's a great sage, and he is equipped with austerities, and you ask him for his bones, and with those bones you can make a weapon called thunderbolt weapon. Okay, Vajrayudha. Vishwakarma will manufacture that, and with that Vajrayudha you can kill Vritrasura. Okay, so this is the plan that the Lord gave. Then all the Devatas went to the sage named Dadhichi, and this Dadhichi asked, oh, why did you come to me? All the Devatas said, one little service. We want one favor from you. What is that? Please die. We want to take your bones. So unless he dies, How can he offer his bones to them? So we want to utilize your bones and make a weapon called Vajrayudha. And with that weapon, we would like to kill Vritrasura, who is troubling us. Then Dadiji said, oh, really? Take it. Initially, he said, no, I will not give. Just to joke with them. But later he said, okay, take it. So all the devatas were taking out the bones of Dadhichi. But Dadhichi was completely Krishna conscious. He was remembering Krishna, that he did not even realize his body being separated from himself, right? So Dadhichi did not even realize the physical pain because he was so absorbed in thinking of Krishna, meditating on Krishna, that although his body is just getting destroyed, he did not even realize that. So then they took the thunderbolt weapon, and with the thunderbolt weapon, Indra killed Vritrasura. And Vritrasura was another devotee, right? So while fighting with Indra, Vritrasura lost one arm. Then Indra has cut his second arm also. Then Vritrasura understood that, okay, I don't have both arms to fight. I can now swallow Indra. So he swallowed Indra. And Indra went inside the stomach of Vritrasura and then pierced his abdomen, came out, and then started cutting his throat to kill him. And Vritrasura, as soon as he swallowed Indra, he did not even bother to think of what happened to Indra within his belly. He just thought that my fight is over, Yuddha is over, I have to offer my mind now. My fighting is over, I just have to think of Krishna. He started thinking of Krishna. He did not even realize that Indra was killing him. Okay. So these two examples of Vritrasura and Dadhichi, these two are great devotees of the Lord, and the Lord has personally planned for their death. If you see, Lord had sent the Devatas to kill Dadhichi to take his bones. Lord Vishnu only had sent Devatas to go and kill Vritrasura. Although Vritrasura was a devotee in his past life as Chitraketu, and Dadhichi was also a great devotee. So these two devotees did not become emotional. They did not become emotional that, oh, the Lord has planned for my death. He had sent Devatas to kill me. They were not thinking like that. They completely trusted the Lord's plan. They understand. If I die, where will I go? I will go to Vaikuntha and serve the Lord. If I don't go to Vaikuntha, I will take another body, take another life, and then try to serve him in the new life. So the Lord has decided something means I have to follow. As simple as that. Okay, they are not attached to particular service or particular body only. So because they are completely Krishna conscious throughout their lives, at the time of death, they were able to remember Krishna and reach Krishna after death. Clear? So the essential lesson is, when we try to practice Krishna consciousness throughout our lives, we will be able to remember Krishna at the time of death, and after death, we can reach Krishna. That's the simple message of this shloka. So this shloka and the previous couple of shlokas. Okay. So one's thoughts during the course of life accumulate to influence one's thoughts at the time of death. And that creates a next life. Okay. So if we increase our Krishna conscious thoughts within our mind, then we will be able to remember Krishna at the time of death. So practicing Krishna consciousness does not mean to remember Krishna at all times, at every moment. It may not be possible for a sadhaka, but it is to mold our activities, our thoughts and our words and our aspirations with an intention to please Krishna, samsiddhir haritoshanam. That is as good as always thinking of Krishna, right? So tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mamanusmara, to always think of Krishna does not mean to sit in a solitary place and just think of Krishna always. We have to work for Krishna. While working for Krishna, we have to focus on the work, and you may not exactly literally remember him, but you are doing something that pleases him. That basically means you are Krishna conscious, right? So Krishna consciousness is to act, to think, to speak, and to do whatever you are doing with an intention to please Krishna, with an aspiration to please Krishna, with the only agenda to please Krishna. Okay, so that's how we can reach Krishna. Let me just conclude our discussion with a couple of more points. Krishna said, Yudhyacha, we understood that, means we have to engage our activities in Krishna's service to please Krishna. But offering your mind and offering your intelligence, let's meditate on them a little more. Mind is a storehouse of thoughts, desires, feelings, and emotions, isn't it? Where are the desires stored? Within the mind. Where are your feelings and emotions stored? Within the mind. Where are your thoughts stored? Within the mind, not in the hand. Your hand has some thoughts. Your eye has some thoughts. No, the mind that has thoughts. And what about the intelligence? Intelligence is that faculty that constantly analyzes. It does the activity of discernment, discrimination, analysis, planning, scheming, right? Analyzing, reasoning. That's what intelligence does. Krishna is saying, Mayarpita manobuddhir. Engage your mind in my service. Engage your intelligence also in my service. Right? So, mind is on the emotional side, it's a storehouse of emotions, and intelligence is on the rational side, right? More of logic and analysis and reasoning, right? Krishna is saying, do both, engage both in my service. So when we engage our emotional faculties and rational faculties along with our physical senses in Krishna's service, that is complete Krishna consciousness. Getting right? So Krishna consciousness does not mean engaging on only thinking of Krishna. Only thinking of Krishna. No, mind is only one part of it. You should get emotionally attached to Krishna. You should develop that bhava, feeling for Krishna. No doubt. Okay. But what about your intelligence? What about your body? What about your senses? They also need to be engaged in Krishna service, right? Then only it will become complete Krishna consciousness, right? If someone says, I'm always thinking of Krishna, but I don't serve Krishna, right? I love him, but I don't serve him. So love, that's what Prabhupada always translates bhakti as devotional service, not just devotion. If bhakti is translated as only devotion, then only mind is involved in bhakti. But along with mind, body also should be involved, intelligence also should be involved, okay? And other qualities also we need to develop. That becomes complete Krishna consciousness. Therefore, body, mind, intelligence, everything, your emotional faculties, your rational faculties, right? Bhakti is not just working for Krishna. Bhakti is not just thinking of Krishna. Bhakti is not just understanding Krishna Tattva. Bhakti is combination of all three, right? So bhakti is a combination of all three. You think of him, you understand him with your intelligence, you think of him with your mind, and you serve him with your body, right? Then it is complete Krishna consciousness. The whole spectrum has to be full, okay? So then we all have this potential. We all have this potential to engage our body, mind, and intelligence in Krishna's service. Why? Krishna said it in Bhagavad Gita. Krishna wouldn't give an impractical instruction to people. Bhagavad Gita is not just a book of certain idealistic principles which are not practical. Bhagavad Gita is a very practical book. It is meant for our application. We need to put all the principles that Krishna is speaking in Bhagavad Gita into practice. How can Krishna give an impractical instruction in Bhagavad Gita? Right? So all the living beings, especially all the human beings, have the ability to engage this body, mind, and intelligence in Krishna's service. But the problem is, our mind is engrossed in thinking of so many problems. Our intelligence is engrossed in understanding or analyzing the cause of problem and how to solve the problem. And our body is engaged in applying the analysis, right? In implementing the plans of the intelligence to deal with the problems. Because our mind, body, and intelligence is too much entangled with problems in life, we are unable to understand our potential to engage this body, mind, and intelligence in Krishna's service, right? So shift your focus from problems to your potential, right? So when you focus on the problems of life, inevitable problems of life, adhyatmika, adhidevika, adhibhautika kleshas, right? Hundreds of problems we face. Anyone here who has no problems in life, right? I will not believe even if you raise your hands. Okay. So there are hundreds and thousands of problems that an average human being constantly faces. It's natural to think of problem. It's natural to use our intelligence to analyze the problem, analyze the cause and solution for the problem. But yeah, we have to do that. But apart from doing that, let us also use our body, mind, intelligence not only just to solve the problems, but to focus on our potential to be Krishna conscious. Then Krishna will solve the problem, right? So you understand your potential to be 100% Krishna conscious, and you understand Krishna's potential to solve all your problems, then that is Krishna consciousness. But if you keep your potential aside, your spiritual potential aside, and you keep Krishna's potential aside, and you just completely depend on your material potential to address your problems, we will create more problems. Sometimes the solutions that we create to solve our problems are more problematic than the problems itself, right? The solutions cause more problem than the original problem itself. That's how life is, right? Material life is. But if we understand that all of us have potential to become Krishna conscious, and Krishna has potential to solve all our petty material problems, then we tap a higher force, higher energy, which is there within us, which is there within Krishna, right? Let's tap our spiritual potential. All of us are spiritual beings entrapped in a material body, and the material body comes with certain potential, and you're always working or acting with that material potential only that comes with the material gross and subtle bodies. But access your spiritual potential, right? So you can chant Hare Krishna and you can connect with Krishna, and then your intelligence is spiritualized, your mind is spiritualized, your body is spiritualized. With that spiritual faculties, you try to deal with material problems which are very petty, and on top of it, you have Krishna to protect us, right? Protect you. So shift the focus from your problem to your potential. Don't be often engrossed in hundreds and thousands of your problems. Tap your potential to use your mind, intelligence, and body in Krishna's service. And if you live a life like that, then at the time of death, it is easy to attain Krishna. Okay. So when we love Krishna more than this world, he takes us out of this world to his eternal abode. But when our attention is given more to this world and than to Krishna, then Krishna will say, okay, continue in this world, no problem. Okay. You are more attached to this world. So for such a devotee who is constantly Krishna conscious, who is doing his sadhana, tasmat sarveshu kaleshu, for such a devotee, death is not leaving home and relatives. Death is reaching home and relatives, right? For us, death is not leaving home, leaving our nicely built home with bricks, with cement, with paint. That is not our home. Our home is Goloka Vrindavan. Our home is Vaikuntha. Whatever, according to your mentality, your flavor of connecting with Krishna, your rasa in connecting with Krishna, Krishna will give a particular abode in the spiritual realm. And we have more relatives, more friends there. They're all in spiritual bodies, and we can have spiritual dealings with them. Okay. There, our Krishna consciousness is no more practice. It's perfection. It's innate, intrinsic characteristic in our system, right? So, to conclude, we discussed on Tasmat Sarveshu Kaleshu Mamanusmara Yudhyacha. Okay. Krishna is saying, always think of me. But Krishna is also adding, you should perform your yuddha also. Okay. It seems contradictory, but actually there's no contradiction. Krishna is saying Krishna consciousness is not just engaging your mind in always thinking of me. It is also engaging your body in serving me, engaging your intelligence in understanding me. Whenever you are doing something which is meant to please Krishna, although you are literally thinking about Krishna while doing that activity or not, that is a Krishna conscious activity. Therefore, we may not literally say that we can always think of Krishna, but actually we can always be in Krishna consciousness, which includes not just thinking. It is working also. It is understanding Krishna's tattva also. These are a few thoughts. It's exactly 8:15. I'll conclude here. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. You want to recite some shlokas? One who hasn't recited in the beginning of the class can recite now. Tanvik, you can recite. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu
तस्मात् सर्वेषु कालेषु
mamanusmara yudhyacha
मामनुस्मर युध्य च
mayyarpitamano buddher
मयि अर्पितमनोर्बुद्धिर्
मामे वैश्यस्य संशयः.
मामे वैश्यसि संशयः.
Okay, one more. Chandrika, Naimisha, yes, recite. Unmute yourself first, Naimisha.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी.
Hmm.
तस्मात् सर्वेषु कालेषु मामनुस्मरयुध्य च मयि अर्पितमनो बुद्धिर्मामे वैश्यस्य संशयः. हरे
Okay.
कृष्ण प्रभु जी. दंडवत प्रणाम.
Good. One more.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी. तस्मात् सर्वेषु कालेषु माम् अनुस्मर युध्वचष मयि अर्पितमनो बुद्धिर् मामे वैश्यस असंशयः. हरे कृष्ण.
Okay.
दंडवत प्रणाम.
Okay. Okay, thank you. We will conclude here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.